Hello and welcome to News Now. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari is finally sworn in his cabinet after a delay of over 5 months. The ministers designate took their oath of office at the presidential villa in Abuja, Nigeria's capital territory, today. Immediately after the ceremony, the government held an inaugural session of the Federal Executive Council. Each minister was allowed to be accompanied to the swearing-in ceremony by a maximum of 2 guests. Afterwards, President Buhari announced the portfolios of the ministers.
I believe all Nigerians will keep hope alive and sustain their optimism about the future of our economic well-being. The ministers have been rationalized and reduced to 24. These are the ministries and their ministers. I wish you the best of luck. Number 1, Abubakar Malami, Sam Justice. 2, Geoffrey Onyema, Foreign Affairs. 3, Khadija Abubakar Abba Ibrahim, State Minister of Foreign Affairs. 4, Brigadier General Mamman or MML Ali, who brought the rear defense. 5, Adamu, Education. 6, Professor Elsene Awuka, State Minister of Education. 7, Mrs. Kemi Odioshu, Finance. 8, Okichuku Lema, Industry, Trade and Investment. 9, Ms. Aisha Abubakar, State Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. 10, Dr. Senator Chris Wabuze Ngige, Labor and Employment. 11, Barrister James E. Ocholi, State Minister of Labor and Employment. 12, Muhammadu Bello, Federal Capital Territory. 13, Abdurrahman Bello Dambazau, Interior. 14, Udoma, Budget and National Planning. 15, Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, State Minister of Budget and National Planning. 16, Emmanuel Ibe Kachuku, State Minister of Petroleum Resources. Speaking here is the substantive Minister of Petroleum Resources. 17, Babatunde Fashola San, Power, Works and Housing. 18, Mustafa Baba Shahuri, State Minister of Power, Works and Housing. 19, Chief Audu Innocent Augbe, Agriculture and Rural Development. 20, Heineken Lopobiri, State Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development. 21, Chubike Rotimi Amechi, Transportation. 22, Senator Hadi Sirika, State Minister of Aviation. 23, Isaac Olorisho Adeole, Health. 24, Dr. Osagi Ehenere, State Minister, Health. 25, Senator Aisha Jumai Al-Hassan, Women Affairs, Her Excellency. 26, Pastor Usaini Uguru, Niger Delta. 27, Claudius Omole Delabola, State Minister of Niger Delta. 28, Barrister Adebayo Shitu, Communications. 29, Lai Mohammed, Information. Sati Amina Mohammed, Environment. 31, Ibrahim Usman Jibril, State Minister of Environment. 32, Engineer Suleiman Adamu, Water Resources. 33, Barrister Solomon Dalon, Youth and Sports. 34, Kaide Femi, Solid Minerals. 35, Abubakar Bawa Wari, State Minister of Solid Minerals. 36, Dr. Obonya Olu, Science and Technology. Thank you very much.
As to be expected, reactions have begun trailing the appointments. President Buhari slashed down the number of ministries to 24 and, of course, the number of ministers to 36 from 42. Former Governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Fashola, now heads the key Ministry of Power, Works and Housing. And, of course, 3 different ministries in the past now merged into one. Here's what some analysts have been saying about that.
Well, he has experience. He has experience with power in Lagos. He has experience in all those sectors in Lagos. We expect that he will translate his experience. So we expect to see a lot more results using whatever resources are available to him. We expect to see a focused attention of specific efforts rather than trying to do so many projects. We expect him to prioritize, take a few projects, make them succeed, and get results. We also expect to see a very high level of public-private partnerships. He has a lot of experience in PPP, in public-private participation in projects. So we expect him, in fact, we expect a lot of that to happen since there's not much money from government. We expect him to invite the private sector, both local and foreign, to invest heavily in infrastructure projects within his portfolio.
I think that would be a handful for anybody to run. I understand Babatunde Fashola, the former governor of Lagos State, in as much as the man did excellently well in Lagos, but I think to combine 3 key challenging sectors of the Nigerian economy would be a handful for anybody to manage.
Now, the analysts did not stop there. They have also been setting the agenda for the new ministers. Take a listen.
The way to go is obvious. You need to raise more local revenue. Foreign income has fallen significantly because of the crash in the dollar price for oil. So you need to rapidly grow domestic revenue. You need to ramp up tax collection, not just increase of tax rates, but significantly increase tax collection, significantly increase revenues from customs. There need to be a very massive attack on corruption in customs, through which we lose a lot of revenue. So we expect to see a lot of effort to increase domestic revenue to make up for what we have lost from the loss of the price of the dollar. Also more important is the issue of domestic discipline. There has to be discipline in the way we manage our agencies, starting from finance, because if you do not manage what you have, it doesn't matter how large it is. Even if oil is $200 per barrel and you waste all the resources, all the revenue, there will be no impact. So the issue now is not the size of income, it is the level of discipline in managing the finances and ensuring that there is very strict accountability and value for money. The Minister of Finance needs to drive an agenda of value for money. If you spend $1 million or ₦1 million, we should see value. We should see value that is equal to ₦1 million. So that will be the agenda going forward.
I think the most important agenda today is economy, is to how to revive the economy. We've seen an economy that has started its downward sloping, that has seen a contraction in the past 3 quarters. And I think the first priority should be, so the most important priority today should be how do we trigger economic revival, how do we stimulate the economy to resume its growth, how do we grow the economy, how do we expand opportunities in the economy, how do we have an inclusive growth, not just growth in terms of GDP, but also an inclusive growth that will encompass more people, that bring out more people away, take more people away from poverty into the middle class.
Now, beyond having the agenda set for them, some of the new ministers have been defining their own goal. Newly appointed Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi has pledged to complete all ongoing rail projects around the country and extend rail lines to all parts of the country. Amechi made the pledge during his first day in office as a minister, shortly after his inauguration by President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja. He said he would resume work fully November 17 when the new permanent secretary, Sabiu Zakari, would equally resume duty at the ministry. The minister said his meeting with the permanent secretary and the directors on November 17 would begin by looking at the budget and its level of implementation. He also said the meeting would be necessary to chart a new course towards completing all ongoing projects, especially the rail, and extending it to different parts of the country. Amechi, however, called for cooperation from all parastatals and agencies of the ministry and the aviation sector. The Nigerian Army has cleared improvised explosive devices buried along the road linking New Marathi, Dogongida and Kerenua in Borno, northeast Nigeria. This is contained in a statement issued by Tuko Goso, the media coordinator of Operation Lafia Dole in Maiduguri, on Wednesday. He also said that the troops arrested 5 suspected terrorists in another operation in Gudumbali in Barga local government area of Borno State. River State Governor Nyesom Wike has banned protests by some unauthorized group calling for the release of the director of a pirate radio station, Radio Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. In a state broadcast, Wike banned all forms of street protests, demonstrations, rallies, or unlawful gatherings associated with the agitations for the secession of any group from the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It was total lockdown on Tuesday at the LMA axis of River State as pro-Biafra supporters staged a protest in solidarity with the Biafra radio host Nnamdi Kanu, who has been detained by the DSS. The protesters, who stormed the streets in their hundreds, were however prevented by security agents from proceeding to Port Harcourt, the River State capital. Now, the River State government has dissociated itself from the protest, of course, by the pro-Biafran groups. A federal high court in Abuja has granted bail to the former governor of Benue State in north-central Nigeria, Gabriel Suswan, for the sum of 100 million naira. He was arraigned before Justice A.R. Mohammed over a 9-count charge bordering on money laundering to the tune of 3.1 billion naira. Now, it is alleged that he and his former finance commissioner, Omodachi Okolobia, diverted the proceeds of the sale of shares owned by the Benue State government and Benue Investment and Property Company Limited. However, the two defendants pleaded not guilty to all charges leveled against them and were each granted bail for the sum of 100 million naira each. The judge adjourned the trial to December 8 and 9.
Charges, and he pleaded not guilty. We applied for his bail, which was not opposed, and graciously his lordship granted him bail on conditions. So we are trying to perfect the conditions of the bail. The whole essence of a bail or condition is to ensure that the defendant attends the court, and he hasn't an history of abstaining from proceedings or running away from the country. So we were able to convince the court that it's not somebody who will jump bail.
The charge was read over to the two of them, and they pleaded not guilty, thereby putting the onus on the prosecution to call his witnesses and then present his case. So that has been done, is adjourned now for trial. Meanwhile, he was released on bail because he was granted administrative bail, which he never jumped, and also after the charge was served on him, he was also similarly granted bail. So it will not be proper for me to come and contest bail when he has been released twice on bail. So that's why the courts granted him bail.
A federal high court in Lagos has fixed November 18, 2015 to decide on the case filed by Buruji Kashemu against the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and the Attorney General of the Federation. Kashamu is seeking an order of perpetual injunction barring the NDLEA and the AGF from taking over his property, including a 24-flat housing estate at Egbe and several hectares of land on Lekki Peninsula in Lagos, southwest Nigeria, worth over 20 billion naira. Justice Ibrahim Buba adjourned for ruling on Wednesday following argument from the parties. The AGF, in its preliminary objection, described Kashamu's suit as premature, incompetent, and an abuse of court processes, and asked the court to dismiss it. A counsel from the office of the AGF, Onyi Kole-Osho, said Kashamu failed to substantiate his claim that the AGF had or was about to take possession of Kashamu's property. The AGF also challenged the subject matter jurisdiction of the court to entertain Kashamu's case. Kashamu, in his affidavit, claimed to have acquired the property by hard work and legitimate business, as opposed to the respondent's allegation that the property was acquired with proceeds of drug trafficking. The Nigerian government targets between 600,000 and 1 million jobs within the next 3 years through the Growth and Empowerment Project. This is according to government official. Director in charge of GEM in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Sani Labaran, disclosed this in Abuja, saying the project would create both direct and indirect jobs in 5 sectors of the economy from 2015 to 2018. He said that the 5 sectors were identified based on their growth and employment potential. The coordinator gave the sectors as entertainment industry, ICT, hospitality and tourism, and of course light manufacturing and agro-processing, as well as construction and real estate. He said, quote, the project is aimed at enhancing job creation and increased non-oil growth in specific high potential value chain sectors, end of quote. Now, two senators, of the People's Democratic Party have called for the increase of its proposed monthly allowance for unemployed Nigerians from 5,000 naira, saying the amount was inadequate for alleviating their hardship. The senators in Abuja urged the ruling All Progressives Congress to evolve a better welfare scheme that will lessen the pains of the unemployed and aged in the country. According to Foster Ogla, the PDP, Bayelsa West, while the 5,000 monthly stipend promised by the APC is a good idea, it is not the solution to the needs of the people. On his part, Clifford Odia, PDP Edo Central, said it was not enough for the APC to promise a stipend of 5,000 naira without putting measures in place for its actualization. While admitting that the country was currently facing economic challenges, Odia said the government could fulfill its promise if it prioritized its programs. Now, the People's Democratic Party has apologized to Nigerians for, quote, the mistakes it made in its 16 years of power. The party's apology was conveyed by the chairman of the Planning Committee of the PDP National Conference, Raymond Dokpesi, at a press briefing in Abuja. The party specifically apologized for fielding former President Goodluck Jonathan as their presidential candidate during the last election. He admitted that the party might not have met all the expectations of Nigeria while it was in power, especially when it didn't zone the presidency slot to the north in 2014. According to the former ruling party, it made a mistake in not allowing proper contest during the primaries that produced former President Goodluck Jonathan. Dokpesi also condemned what he called the selective anti-corruption war of the present administration. We'll take a short break now, and News Now will be right back.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching the Funny White Man Show, which is the biggest, the brightest, and the most entertaining show in Africa.
Funny white man, for this way you talk, it's too much. Give me 5,000 man, that's you. It's too much. So you get it like, make you move along the street. You make sure like I'm going girl. You know, my own people, actually. Yeah, fine, it's fun. I enjoy it. And I'm one of those very few. I'm forever taking it personal. I will listen 160 million Nigerians are corrupt. How? Brother, I'm looking for you.
Yeah, but it's a growth, and this is the time to build business. I know the pitfalls, I know what to do and what not to do. But there are months where you get business and months.
You know how we do, how we train them. We do the way you do.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching Trending Matters on the Funny White Man Show. Of course, they will bring you trending issues just to entertain and tickle your fancy.
Welcome back. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has fined the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company 18 million naira for alleged negligence culminating in the death of Faith Yakubu, an 8-year-old child. Faith Yakubu was allegedly electrocuted at Angwandodo in Gwagwalada, Abuja, Nigeria's federal capital. The accident allegedly occurred when a staff of the distribution company disconnected wire feeding the Yakubu's residence over allegation of accumulated bills and left the wire lying on the ground even as he failed to disconnect supply from the transformer. The deceased, in her innocence, was said to be running an errand with a 4-month-old baby boy strapped on her back, grabbed the wire in an attempt to cross over the naked wire when she got electrocuted. The baby on her back survived the accident. In a resolution sent to newsmen, and NERC upheld the recommendations of its panel report of accident investigation, which found the distribution company liable for negligence. The electricity distribution company was directed to carry out regular safety enlightenment campaigns in accordance with the Nigeria Electricity Safety Manual and Nigeria Electricity Safety Code. Crude oil prices fell on Wednesday after industry data showed an increase in U.S. stockpiles while China's factory output slowed. Benchmark U.S. crude futures slipped to a 2-week low at $43.55 a barrel in early trading. International traded Brent crude futures were down 29 cents at $47.15 a barrel. The price drops come on the back of rising stockpiles in North America and slowing economies in Asia. OPEC will meet December 4th to discuss the cartel strategy after opting to maintain its output steady in the face of lower prices and rising U.S. shale production in its last meeting. Myanmar's President Tai Sein has agreed to meet with Aung San Suu Kyi in an early election results as early election results, point toward victory for her National League of Democracy. With about 40% of seats declared, the National League for Democracy has taken nearly 90% of the vote. Suu Kyi has written to the leadership requesting talks on national reconciliation, but a presidential spokesperson said such a meeting could only take place after the final results were announced. Election observers say there was no attempt to delay the declaration of results from Sunday's election. Suu Kyi is apparently treading carefully despite her apparent landslide victory. The NLD won elections decisively in 1990, only for the result to be nullified and Suu Kyi placed under long-term house arrest. Sports now. The Golden Eaglets on Wednesday arrived the country after their victorious outing at the 2015 FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Chile. The Eaglets on Sunday defeated West African neighbors Mali 2-0 to claim a record 5th triumph at the Under-17 World Cup. The Eaglets, who were also the defending champions, secured victory through second-half goals by Victor Osimhen and Funsho Bangboye. Osimhen's goal, which was his 10th in the tournament, made him the first player in the history of the competition to score in every game of the championship and also the scorer of the most goals in a single tournament. He also received the award for the second best player in the tournament, while Captain Kelechi Nwakali picked up the Golden Ball Award as the tournament's best player. Now, the Eagles' success was the first by Nigeria outside the Asian continent, as all previous 4 wins had been achieved in China, Japan, Korea Republic and the United Arab Emirates. They arrived in the country at 4 p.m. Nigerian time via the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Upon arrival, the Eagles were greeted by a tumultuous crowd who were eager to welcome their world champions. Suspended FIFA President Sepp Blatter has been hospitalized after being placed under medical observation for stress, his spokesperson has said. The spokesman, however, noted that it was not a big deal and he would soon be released. The Swiss is currently serving a 90-day provisional ban, which could be extended by 45 days following an investigation being conducted on him by the Ethics Committee over a £1.3 million euro payment, to Platini in 2011. He's also facing criminal charges by the Switzerland Attorney General. Of course, the Switzerland Attorney General confirming opening criminal proceedings against the embattled FIFA president. Now, FIFA presidential candidate Gianni Infantino has said he would withdraw his candidacy if suspended UEFA president Michel Platini successfully gets his ban overturned. Infantino was one of the late entries to the FIFA presidency, having only submitted his candidacy hours before the deadline for the final submission. However, while speaking to the French media, the Swiss stated he was honored to submit his candidacy ahead of the elections next February, but has insisted he would withdraw it if it means he has to run against Platini. Infantino is one of 7 candidates, including Frenchman Jérôme Champagne, Prince Ali of Jordan, former Asian Football Confederation President Sheikh Salman Al Khalifa, and of course Michel Platini, South African tycoon Tokyo Sexwale, and Liberian FA President Moussa Beliti, vying to replace Sepp Blatter as head of the world's football's biggest organization. The election will take place February the 26th, 2016. That's it in news now. Thank you very much for watching. Continue to stay tuned to TV360.